This is going to be tough as we have just had new details revealed about the Duke Blue Devils matchup against the Arkansas Razorbacks, and we got to break it all down. What's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Duke Basketball 365. If you're a Duke Blue Devil basketball fan, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out a ton. But getting into the news for today, coming from CBS Sports, Jon Calipari and Jon Scheyer will face off as head coaches for the first time Thursday when number 4 Duke and number 22 Arkansas battle in the CBS Thanksgiving Classic inside the United Center in Chicago. The neutral site showdown will mark just the third meeting between the programs since Arkansas defeated Duke in the 1994 National Championship game. Coach Calipari said, "They're big, they're long, and it's going to be a battle." He said that on CBS Sports' Inside College Basketball Now show. The showdown marks the Arkansas Razorbacks' second opportunity against a brand name program after the Razorbacks, who are currently 5-1, lost 69-66 against Michigan State on November 8th. Since then, Arkansas survived 4 bye games against lower tier opponents, a stretch that included uncomfortably close calls against Samford and Winthrop. Now, if you have not been keeping up with the Arkansas Razorbacks basketball scores, they are currently on the screen. On November 8th, they were tested versus the Michigan State Spartans, who are currently ranked number 11 in the country. Pretty much, Arkansas only lost by 3, pretty much confirming that they are a competitive basketball team, still hanging on to that 22 overall ranking, despite their 2 close games against teams that really should not be playing a ranked team close at all in Samford and Winthrop. But Arkansas, they're going to bring a lot to the table because of their head coach, Jon Calipari. The dude knows what he's doing. He's been a top-level head coach inside of college basketball for a while now. The dude knows what he's doing, and Duke is not going to have the usual large head coaching advantage that we usually bring to the table with Coach Jon Scheyer. Coach Calipari is going to be bringing something crazy to the table schematically, and Duke has to make sure they are ready. And speaking of the players who we are going to need to be ready for, currently leading the Arkansas Razorbacks in points per game is Malik Thomas, averaging 18.3 points per game, the number 1 scorer for the Arkansas Razorbacks. The number 2 guy we got to look out for is the other guard, Darius Acuff, averaging 16.8 points per game himself. So those are the 2 big-time scorers for Arkansas. We're going to have to make sure our guards are ready to play tough defense. We're going to have to make sure, Caleb Foster is going to be matched up on one of those guys, even though, you would prefer that they get covered by Dame Sarr or by Malik Brown. But if Malik Brown is going to be coming off of the bench, one of those 2 players are going to be guarded by Caleb Foster. And Foster got a ton of talent. He's just got to stay confident. And if he plays confidently, Caleb Foster is a completely different player who is going to be able to make life difficult for either or both of these players. Whoever he is going to be matched up on, we don't know that until Thursday who it's going to be. But I'm not saying he's going to completely wipe them away, but Caleb Foster will be able to make it tougher on one or both should he decide to, or get told to by Coach Jon Scheyer, switch between the 2 guards. The final scorer who is in double digits for Arkansas is forward Trayvon Brazile, currently averaging 7.3 rebounds per game, the number 1 rebound guy for the Arkansas Razorbacks. But fortunately, we got the dogs to get after Arkansas. Cameron Boozer is currently leading the Duke Blue Devils in every single major statistical category. Points per game, Cameron Boozer. Rebounds per game leader, Cameron Boozer. Steals per game, Cameron Boozer. Blocks per game, Cameron Boozer. Assists per game, you guessed it, Cameron Boozer. The top recruit of the 2025 Duke Blue Devils recruiting class is showing exactly why he was that highly recruited guy. But he's only been doing it against the weaker opponents for Duke. Coming out in the first half versus Texas, Cameron Boozer put up 0 points. He had a good second half, and you got to give him a ton of credit for bouncing back. But he also came out a little bit slow against Kansas. So now this is the next opportunity for Cameron Boozer to face a top team and show that he's not just going to score a ton of points against the weaker matchups that we have. He's not just going to do that against Western Carolina, against Howard. He's going to be able to do this when we are going to be playing tougher teams, when we're going to be getting into the ACC schedule, getting into the conference conference tournament, the March Madness tournament. He's got to prove to us. He doesn't have to prove it now, but he has to prove that he's going to be, producing more and just playing better basketball when we are playing better opponents. But got to remember, even though we bring in top recruits and top freshmen every single year, they're still freshmen. They're young kids just getting started at the collegiate level. So we can give Cameron Boozer some time to get it figured out against the top programs in college basketball. But Patrick Gongba is currently tied with Isaiah Evans for our second scoring leader, 13 points per game out of both of them. And what I really like is how spread out the rest of the scoring is. Unlike Arkansas, we don't have another guy with a ton of points. Actually, fun fact, in March Madness, if you have a player averaging more than 21 points per game, that's a really, really bad thing for teams that usually get upset early in March Madness, actually have players who score that much. So hopefully for statistical reasons, what do we even want to call that? For historical trend reasons, hopefully Cameron Boozer scores less points going forwards. Hey, a couple years ago, Purdue I was looking at this stat, looking at everyone in March Madness. I said, Purdue, they have Zach Edey, who is averaging the most points in college basketball, and FDU comes along and upsets them as a 16 seed in the first round. It's a real stat. Cameron Boozer got to score a little bit less. But Patrick Gongba and Isaiah Evans are the next two guys. But what I was trying to say before I remember that amazing stat that I'm actually scared of the points of Cam Boozer now because of, I like how Duke is spreading out the rest of their point scoring. And a lot of it is we're playing weaker teams and are getting opportunities to rotate a whole lot of guys through instead of just playing our normal 9-man rotation, which is what we saw against Kansas and what we're going to see against the tougher teams on our schedule starting this Thanksgiving versus Arkansas. But I like that you need to have a full team for especially March Madness and for any tournament setting. You have to have a full team because that affords your top scorer, Cameron Boozer, to have an off night and the rest of the team is going to be there to support him. So we love the fact that there are so many scoring options on this Duke team, and that's really what you would expect from the Duke early non-conference schedule. Usually we have that Champions Classic, which is a really tough game. And then other than that, we're going to be getting some weaker opponents just to get our guys up to speed and get guys back in playing shape. But that's kind of coming to a close as our schedule is about to get a whole lot harder as we were playing back-to-back ranked SEC teams, followed up by Tom Izzo's Michigan State. Really tough teams coming up here, and I'm extremely excited to watch a lot of these games. Florida at Cameron Indoor was the most expensive ticket of the entire college basketball season before the year started. I am not sure if that stat has changed, but that is a tremendous game. The defending champions at our place, a game that we really should have seen last season, and I really wish we saw it last season. But Florida returning Alex Condon, that's their tall center, number 21. He's going to be a monster, but we got height with Patrick Gongba to match up with Alex Condon, and that game is going to be absolutely amazing. Michigan State also returning their big man, so be prepared for that. Michigan State also bringing to the table a historically elite head coach in Tom Izzo. Don't have to remind anybody watching this video what Tom Izzo has done in the past and what he is probably going to be doing with that Michigan State program in the future. After those tough games, we will be getting Lipscomb, and it's going to be calming down a little bit before later into the season. We will be getting into that ACC schedule where you'd expect to see an uptick in the level of competition on a game-to-game basis. But, we'll see how strong the ACC shapes up to be right now. Game against Kansas, really, really tough test. Game against Florida, really tough test. It's always important to challenge yourself in the non-con. That's why I see Alabama already has 2 losses, but I respect the heck out of them for, not only do I respect them for taking on really tough teams in the non-conference, I look at that and go, that's what you need to do because you need to test your guys early so you can understand exactly what you have on your roster, understand who the fighters are, who's gonna fold when the lights are too bright, figure out stuff like that. Duke is gonna be able to do that with these matchups versus Arkansas, versus Florida, and versus Michigan State. All in a row is gonna be tough, but hey, you come to Duke basketball to challenge yourself at the highest level, put that spotlight on you, and show the entire world what you are capable of. that's what I got for this video. If you stuck around to the end, I appreciate you taking the time to watch it all the way through. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and go Duke.